What's going on YouTube? It's Teej back again with another video, and today I'm giving you my picks for week 18 of the NFL season. Excited to bring it your way, and hopefully we'll enjoy today's video. And if you do, hit that like button, it would help me and my channel out a ton. And if you're new to the channel, want to see more football content, just hit that big red subscribe button. And of course, most importantly, comment your thoughts down in the comment section. Where are some of those games maybe you think I'm wrong on, and give me your rationale for why you see the game differently. Also, let's talk betting, maybe some of your favorite lines or upset picks of the week. Love to talk about all that and then some down in the comments section. You'll see my record down at the bottom of the screen. This is just me picking winners of games, but we will talk the line for each and every contest, just in case you're new around here. Let's start with our Saturday contest. After having a hiatus of Saturday football, it was kind of nice to be able to get back to it. That said, did have New Year's Eve action going on, so I guess we didn't go a Saturday without it. All that aside, give me the Chiefs to win and cover this mark. Broncos are just kind of in a tough spot. I'm not entirely sure if Teddy Bridgewater is able to play in this one. But nonetheless, I think the Chiefs are just looking to get back on track after, a really fun game to watch against the Bengals. Give them a win, get them some confidence, get them right back on track for the postseason. Then we got the Cowboys and the Eagles at 7-point spread. I'm going to take Dallas to win, but if I was talking this line, I think I'd go Philadelphia to be able to keep this game close. Division games always play a little tighter. There's so much between these two teams in regards to history, and they have seen each other so much. So I think Philadelphia has what it takes to be able to keep this game close. Additionally, it is being played at Philadelphia. On top of that, run-heavy scheme. It feels like there's not going to be that much, back and forth, multiple. Obviously, teams get multiple possessions, but because of the run focus for Philadelphia, the game kind of shrinks a little bit, and Dallas has the capability to do something similar if they do decide to go in that direction. But I think Philadelphia can keep this game close, but I think Dallas needs this win to get back on track. So back-to-back games picking road favorites. What could go wrong? Bengals and Browns. Speaking of road favorites, actually underdog here. I double-checked and then I saw that right. The Bengals are getting points against Cleveland. I am a little shocked by that. Maybe there's something I'm not entirely sure about as I'm watching this, but if it's Joe Burrow and the crew going against Cleveland and Case Keenum under center for the Browns, I am aboard that they're getting points. I'll have to look into this. I am recording this a little bit ahead of time because of travel again for work, but yeah, wow, that is an interesting one. If the Bengals are favored and there's nothing I'm missing, that's a steal right there in my eyes. Then we get to the Packers and the Lions. This line's set at 2.5. That's largely because it's unsure about if Aaron Rodgers is going to play at all. I know he said on Monday Night Football in the Manning cast that he wants to play a little bit. So that would, go a long way for the Packers to be able to cover this mark. I think they win and cover. I do think this could be a close game, but at 2.5 points, there's just so much more of a degree of separation between these two teams. So give me the Packers on the road, despite them being favored. Then we get to the Bears and the Vikings. I'll take Minnesota at home. They're just a better football team right now, and whether it's Foles or Dalton, give Minnesota the QB advantage. They're at home to end the year, looking for something to kind of hang their hats on, right? And additionally, this could be, a curtain call of sorts for Mike Zimmer, potentially his last game as a Vikings head coach. So, maybe he has the team fired up, or maybe they're just ready and pumped up to play for him one last time. So all that, it's actually interesting. Both these games probably feature the last game as a head coach for Matt Nagy and Mike Zimmer, respectively. So that's kind of a fun watch there. Then we get to the Giants and the Washington football team. Yeah, I'll take Washington to win and cover. This is tough here because I'd like to go the Giants just because I just don't think Washington's a good enough football team to give them a full touchdown of an advantage. But after seeing the Giants' performance last week against the Bears, maybe they are bad enough to where you can give up the other opposing team a touchdown, and it's still safe week in and week out. So I'll take Washington. A lot to play for, right? Ron Rivera is, I don't think he's going anywhere as a head coach, and he's still trying to install that culture. They have a young team in General Terry McLaurin and Antonio Gibson. And a lot of times you'll see younger players, have continued fights. So I think that, bodes well if you're a Washington football team fan. And plus the Giants just right now might be the worst team in football, like them and the Jags. It's kind of hard to tell them apart sometimes. So I'll take Washington despite being on the road. Then we get to the Colts and the Jags. I'll take Indianapolis to win, and I'll take them to cover. The Jags have just shown me nothing to buy into. And additionally, win in your end situation for Indianapolis, and why not do it in style, dominate a division opponent? And they also haven't won in Jacksonville in a long time, so this could be just a frustration type of demolishing of Jacksonville, just taking down the entire franchise because it's been a tough place for them to play in years past. So give me the Colts to win and go ahead and cover 15-point mark. I know it's a ton of points, but I'll go with it. I'm picking a lot of road teams here in this video. It's not something I had planned on doing, but give me Pittsburgh. You know what? This is just tough because I don't know if Lamar Jackson's going to play. I'm going to take Baltimore to win if Lamar plays, or even if it's Tyler Huntley. I'll take Baltimore to win. End the season a little bit higher of a note. Also, Pittsburgh just doesn't have a team really. Like we talked about the Rams, they should have been able to shred apart the Ravens secondary like Joe Burrow did 2 weeks ago with the Bengals. Pittsburgh just isn't in a spot. They have the playmakers on the outside. It's not the wide receiver talent. It's just Ben is not that guy anymore. Clearly, in his home finale, season low ADOT, he's just not a guy who's going to try to force the ball down the field all that often anymore. So I'll take Baltimore to win, but if we're talking spread, the reason I initially picked Pittsburgh, I will take the Steelers to be able to cover, the 5-point mark. So I'll take the Ravens to win, Pittsburgh to cover. This is going to be a close game, division rivals, et cetera, et cetera. It's also the last Big Ben Steelers-Ravens game, so that's kind of sad as a Pittsburgh fan. Then we get to Titans and Texans. Give me Tennessee to win. Give me them to cover. I wouldn't be surprised halfway through this game, if it feels like it's locked up, that we start seeing backups come in for the Titans, especially to those key position groups, right? Like if you're up by 20 at half, why leave A.J. Brown out there? Why leave Julio Jones out there? Why leave Ryan Tannehill out there for them to get hurt? So maybe the margin shrinks a little bit there, but maybe big enough first half lead for Tennessee. I'll take them to win and to be able to cover. Additionally, that defense has been pretty stout, and I could see it giving Davis Mills continued headaches. So I'll take the Titans to be able to win and cover that mark. Then we get to the New Orleans Saints. Again, I'll take them to win and to cover here. I think Taysom Hill has given this offense an okay floor. Like they have a stable place to put their feet. Now, lack of wide receiver talent, and obviously Taysom Hill's not a true quarterback in a lot of ways. There's not a whole lot of upside beyond that, but I think if you catch the Falcons on a down week, and it's hard to tell which Atlanta team we're going to get. Are going to get the one that can put up 30 any given week because Matt Ryan can still play football and Cordero Patterson's a freak of nature as a playmaker and Kyle Pitts is unguardable, or do you get the one that just the offense looks out of sync, discombobulated? You're getting a whole lot of looks for guys like Olamide Zaccheaus, and it's just like, sometimes that offense just puzzles me if that hasn't become clear now. So kind of questioning what Arthur Smith was trying to accomplish some games with his offensive philosophy and scripts and whatnot. But overall, if you just look at the talent and who's playing in this game, the Saints are a better football team. And, despite Matt Ryan is a better quarterback than Taysom Hill, I'll take the Saints on the road and the 4 points to be able to cover. So then we get to the Bills and the Jets. Give me Buffalo to win. Give me them to cover. Zach Wilson did look okay last week as I jettison across the screen. But, that said, one less miserable performance in a season that's been kind of tough to watch. I don't know if it necessarily is telling us there's going to be a full turnaround. On top of that, the Bills' defense has been good, even without Tre'Davious White. And they're still battling for playoff positioning in regards to seeding. So figure that we'll see Josh Allen, at least as it stands right now on Wednesday as I'm recording. So give me the Bills to be able to win and cover at home to end the regular season. Then we get to the Rams and 49ers. Man, this game has so much on the line. And keep in mind, if I'm taking the Saints to win, that means the 49ers have to win this game to be in the playoffs. And Kyle Shanahan has really struggled against the Rams. And this game has a lot of seeding implications for the Rams, too. They're trying to hold on to that number 2 seed just in the case that maybe Green Bay loses in the second round and they have the chance to host the 3 seed Tampa Bay or something along those lines, or maybe even Dallas. God, this is just this is a really tough one. And I think I'm going to go with the Rams. So the 49ers missed the playoffs. I would rather see San Francisco in than New Orleans. I'd rather see, Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, whoever, over Taysom Hill, and I'd rather see, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle get the run versus, Marquez Callaway and Deontay Harris and Adam Troutman and company. But the Rams have just given Shanahan a lot of problems, and I know I said this last week with the Rams, but they're facing a team that is devoid of talent in the secondary, and they should be able to rip them apart. what held them back against the Ravens was, I think, Wink Martindale was just kind of a step ahead of Sean McVay and just was playing chess while McVay was playing checkers. D'Amico Ryans, I think, could be one day a really good DC, but it's his first year in that position. Not nearly someone with the gravitas and the experiences like a Wink Martindale. So maybe McVay is ahead of Ryans as opposed to the other way around last week, and the Rams kind of getting the rhythm early on, air it out, and take advantage of what's been a pretty bad secondary for the 49ers. That said, San Francisco's pass rush could obviously cause some problems for the Rams, and you never know when Matt Stafford's just going to throw a heat-seeking missile right at a linebacker. So there is obviously a route for the 49ers to be able to win this game, and I think their offense, what they can do to try to mismatch and create favorable situations for Kittle, Samuel, Ayuk, et cetera, et cetera. You've heard all this 1,000 times. There's a way for this team to win this game, but I just think the Rams are a better team, so I guess I'm predicting that the New Orleans Saints are going to make the playoffs. That makes me kind of want to throw up a little bit. Then we get to New England and Miami. I'll take the Patriots to win, but I think the Dolphins can cover this, Mark. The only hesitation I have with that is last week you saw what happens when a good defense takes away Miami's only strength in that underneath passing game, the RPO offense. And Bill Belichick obviously is a great defensive mind, and that's a good defense in and of itself. So what happens when Tua doesn't have that little 5-yard slant to Jalen Waddle? And what happens when he tucks it from the running back's gut and no one's open because there's 8 dudes lined up inside the box taking away that underneath shallow passing attack? Then you might see Miami only put up 6 points or something like that, and then it's easy work for New England to be able to cover this, Mark. But Bill Belichick's had his issues specifically playing in Miami. Some weird, wacky things have happened during his tenure with the Patriots. In these games, again, divisional settings, they tend to play a little bit closer, especially when there is still things to play for. Miami playing for their pride, and they're trying to figure out what this offense is going to look like next year. New England trying to secure their playoff spot and potentially move around in the playoff picture with seeding and whatnot. So I think this game will be able to stay pretty close, 6.5 points. And I know a lot of these other games have been divisional, opponents. Like, why can't the Bills and the Jets play a close game? Well, I just think there's too much talent, too much of a talent gap there for that game to really stay close. On top of that rookie quarterback who's been prone to a lot of mistakes against a good defense, that's not necessarily a sign for a close game inbound. So those are some of the differences. If you're wondering why I'm saying one thing and then picking the other way, and a different game with similar qualities and traits, that's kind of part of why. So anyways, moving on, and then we get to the Seahawks and the Cardinals. I think Arizona makes it back-to-back wins to end the regular season and try to go into the postseason with as much momentum and oomph behind them as possible, and taking down Seattle at home, especially after the Seahawks, the way that offense looked last week. This could be one of those games where, hey, this just builds up the confidence and builds up and makes us feel better. Once we get to the postseason, DeAndre Hopkins has the chance to come back once we get to the playoffs. So I think this is just another step in the right direction for Arizona, kind of trying to get back to where they were when a lot of people thought of them as the best team in the NFL. Then we get to the last 4-25 game, I guess I should say. Panthers and Bucks. This is another interesting one, given, what does Tampa Bay want to do? They've already been injury riddled, and also I have to account for who might or might not play in this game, because players on the COVID list like Levante David and Tyrann Mathieu got banged a couple weeks ago. What is his status? I just think Tampa Bay is a better team, and if Brady's playing at least half this game, again, we'll see how the seeding implications line out. Maybe if the Rams lose, the Bucks I think have a chance to leapfrog them and move up ahead of the Rams, which obviously would be beneficial for Tampa Bay. But because of that, I think there's enough to play for here for Tampa to at least get the starters in there for the first half, and then if this game becomes blowout territory, maybe the Bucks pull their starters and this game becomes a little closer. But 7.5 points isn't too big of a line, and Tampa Bay at home still things to play for. I'll take the Bucks to be able to win and cover that mark. And it's Sunday Night Football, man. I'm going to go ahead and just take Chargers win and cover. 3 points, you're basically picking a winner. But that said, this is my caveat. I think the Chargers are a better team. I think they deserve to be in the playoffs, but every time I have counted out the Raiders, they have proved me wrong. So maybe if you're looking at this and want betting advice, maybe Raiders +3 or maybe Raiders money line is the way to go, because every time I think the Raiders don't have a chance to make the playoffs, they surprise me, right? Whether it's beating Dallas on Thanksgiving Day, whether it's last week's win in Indianapolis, both those games on the road too, which is really impressive. And by me taking the Chargers, I am saying I don't think the Raiders make the playoffs. And I'm 0 for 2, and maybe even worse than that as the year has gone on, as I haven't bought into them, or I've given up too early and then they have something that makes me think otherwise. So I could see this home upset of sorts, taking down the Chargers and a division opponent and getting into the playoffs. But I just, if some of the names are coming off the COVID list for the Chargers, I think there's too much talent on that offense. Justin Herbert's fantastic. Austin Eckler's put together a really nice season. Rashawn Slater, that offensive line, they've come so far from where they were last year. Slater's been just a great addition as a first rounder. And I know the defense is still basically Derwin James and Joey Bosa, and then you might get all play from Asante Samuel Jr. or all play from Uchenna Nwosu or something like that. But those two guys are freaks of nature, and I don't know. I like the Chargers as a team, and I think once they get into the playoffs, they're as talented to go blow for blow with anybody. So I'd like to see them make it there and have that chance to go toe-to-toe with the Chiefs, Titans, Bills, whoever. And, I think they would fare a little better than the Raiders if we got the best Chargers versus the best Raiders team in that postseason setting. So I'm going with the Chargers there, but like I said, every time I've counted out the Raiders, they have proven me wrong. So this might be your green light to go bet Raiders money line. But that's going to do it for my Week 18 picks for the week. Tell me what you think down in the comment section. Where was I right? Where was I wrong? What are some of your favorite lines and upset picks for this upcoming week? Hopefully you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, hit that like button. It would help me and my channel out a ton. If you're new to the channel, want to see more football content, we're starting up draft content here very soon as well. Be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. That's going to do it for me. Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Until next time, my name is Tej, and I'm signing off.